Okie dokie. Hey everybody and welcome back. We're going to be watching the Indie Game Awards presented by 61 Indie. Sorry, right here. And we have a list of all the categories and nominees. Hey Colt, welcome in. Hey Robocop. Hey Some Dude Drawing. Hey everybody. You guys ready to see some indie games win some categories?
Yeah, exactly. We see some indie games get some love.
But I know you are rooting for 1,000 Times Resist. Like that's one that you're like, you tell everybody to play it.
I'm conflicted a little bit because of two nights. Because mouthwashing is brilliant in its pacing,
Yeah,
its brevity. So I'm okay with that winning narrative.
you're right.
So it's like if mouthwashing wins, great because that's a very solid script. It's just a beautifully solid script.
Yeah,
And Thousand Times Resist is just insanity. There's so much for just an incredible amount
yeah.
of story.
It's a big game, big story.
Yeah.
And you feel like 1,000 Times Resist, it's kind of like it might get outvoted because it's so long.
Yeah.
Right?
As long as it's like mouthwashing.
Yeah. Balatro sweep. I would hope not. But the debut game, which is the first game that the developers have made. Um, a ranger. I want a ranger to win that. Um, a role puzzling adventure because that was really fun. It was like the puzzles were interesting. And it was a little difficult towards the end because you had to be so precise, but that's like the only like downside of that game that I felt was the ending, being so like nitpicky on like positioning. But I really want a ranger to win debut game. But Lotto Knot is really cute. I wouldn't mind Lotto not winning. Oh, because like when you go to the Indie Game Awards .gg, you could see all the like the nominees and stuff like that. And when you click on the nominees, it takes you to the Steam page.
Oh,
Yeah,
super cool.
yeah. So I think that's really that's a good, nice added touch there because I'm always like scrambling to try and find these games, and it's all just right here for you. But I'm gonna link that in the description after this. But this game, because I was like, what is Mullet Magic? I've never heard of it. And it is kind of insane.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like,
Is it a shooter?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think I've heard of it. Yeah.
And like, it looks really cool. I've never played it, I've never seen it. But just based on how it looks, it might, like, I think it has a good chance. But you were hoping for what, narrative?
On narrative, I'm really hoping for 1,000 times or mouthwashing.
Yeah. But also Fear of the Spotlight is really good. It it kind of surprised me because I was like I wasn't sure what to expect because like two high schoolers are, in the school alone at night and they play with a Ouija board and you're like, okay, sure, where can this go besides some hauntings, right?
Yeah.
But no, it gets pretty creepy and crazy, especially with like the teachers and how the school is basically like hiding like dirty little secrets.
Oh man, that
Yeah,
sounds a lot
it's
like what I told you what I would do with a horror movie. Like not entirely, but a little bit.
yeah.
That I guess. Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, we got some good ones. Say Cyber, welcome in. Pacific Drive. I tried playing Pacific Drive and I couldn't get into it because having to like fix your car just like threw me out of it.
Oh yeah, just mechanical, just doing mechanical.
Yeah, because I had to like go into like this garage and it was like, oh, okay, now you have to fix up your car. And I'm like, Oh, here we go.
It's on IGN's channel on YouTube. You guys, that's what we're watching.
Yeah, we're watching on IGN's YouTube.
Welcome to the Indie Game Awards. My name is Mike Towndrow.
And I'm Kyle Stevenson. We are a couple of the folks behind 6-1 Indie, a collective focus on shining the spotlight on the indies through showcases and now the Indie Game Awards.
What is an indie game? That's been the big question everyone's been asking since the award season last year. Yeah. Is it about the money behind the game or some of the publishing that's going on? Is it having the independent freedom to execute your creative vision? Maybe it's that scrappy spirit we all have, like when you film an award ceremony in a beautiful studio and then the footage has a ton of technical issues, so you film your bits the week before the awards at home. Don't worry, next year will look a lot better. However you define indie, tonight it means community. Tonight is about the people who are pushing this industry forward. We're excited to have you here as we all kick off something that will hopefully outlive us all.
The IGAs represent a future where indie professionals work harmoniously together, a future that leads towards the definitive annual celebration of the indie scene. It's bigger than 6-1 Indie or any individual organization alone. Showcases such as Women-Led Games, Latin American Game Showcase, Wholesome Games, and Games for Games have all been an integral part of making tonight a reality, along with journalists, content creators, institutes, and more who hold a passion for indies.
We also want to take a moment to give a special thanks to the sponsors who aligned with our goals and came in at the very last second to support this future that we're building towards. Pocket Pair, Very OK Vinyl, V Publishing, and the Powell Group.
We also want to give a special shout out to our friends at Playcrafting in Brooklyn, who are currently hosting the official viewing party in New York City.
Now, in case you missed it, the IGAs are solely an awards-only ceremony recognizing the achievements of the developers and their games throughout the past year. There are no new game announcements tonight. 6-1 Indie put out 2 banger showcases earlier in the year, and our friends at Women-Led Games, Latin American Games Showcase, Wholesome Games, and Day of the Devs put out outstanding shows last week. So if you missed them, we encourage you to go back and check them out after tonight's show.
Yes.
So before we get into the awards, here is a brief rundown on how the nominees were selected.
All of our nominees have either launched or released in 1.0 between November 1st, 2023 and November 1st, 2024. To ensure a diverse selection of indie games across all categories, each game can be nominated for only one general category. This rule does not apply to the community management, industry impact, and game of the year categories. For a detailed rundown of eligibility and how our nominees were selected, head to the link at the bottom of the screen.
And remember, tonight is a celebration. There's a reason you're not going to hear the word winner tossed around tonight. If your favorite game doesn't receive an award or wasn't nominated, that's okay. There were a lot of games out there. We encourage you to champion all of them in a positive light and continue supporting the developers.
A great way to start is head to the official IGA Steam event, where you can find all of tonight's nominees, presenters, partners, and so many more indies from this past year.
And with that, it's time for us to get the hell out of the devs' way and start the evening.
Our first presenters launched their debut game last year and gave everyone a little case of Sea Madness.
Hi, we're Black Salt Games, developers of Dredge. Our first award celebrates a handful of the games that introduced a new generation of voices to the indie scene.
Stepping into game development full-time requires not just creativity, but immense courage and dedication. Taking that leap is daunting, especially in the current state of the industry.
blossomed from there to what you guys see today. I've worked on a lot of games, but this is the first game that I worked on where people regularly send me messages telling me how much the game has positively impacted their life or made things better for them, and that just means so much to me.
The cat's like, give me that food.
My goodness. I set out to create something that would bring people joy, would create connections.
Hey, Al, welcome in.
People to just relax and de-stress. And it's really touching and amazing to know that this has helped people and that we've reached our goal. I want to thank my 3 kids and my wonderful wife, because without any of them, none of this would have been possible. I want to thank my amazing team, Micah, Pip, Mike, Steve, Val, Corey, Kane, Daphne, Juliana, Alexandra, Coasterfire, Shan, Riley, Oscar, Gemma, Lucy, Moraski, Laidlaw, Nicholas, Tom, Arsenio, and everyone else.
I want someone to like pull out a long list and be like,
what it is today.
and just read it all.
I want to thank Wholesome Games, because without them, the game wouldn't have had its first initial jettison into the public eye. I want to thank all the wonderful people at Nintendo and Microsoft. I want to thank our Discord and Reddit moderators.
See, this is how you give people time to thank others.
Local heroes and all the hardworking localizers. IOI Gamer, Pop Agenda for everything, but most of all, just for being wonderful people. All of our playtesters, and thank you to the fans for following Kitty's progress and all the encouragement and support. It means so much to us. But most of all, I want to thank the cats.
The
Make
cats.
our lives better every day. Go hug your kitties. Thank you, everyone.
Games are meant to be played by everyone.
to me, accessibility just means, you know,
I feel
how
like
can we
he's
get as
holding
many
me in his
people as
hand and
possible
shaking
to
me.
enjoy this game we make? Why would you want anything else as a game developer? So thank you so much.
That's fine.
But hey, we know why we really won. We gave Krill a gun, and the gun lets you kill any enemy in one hit, and you can enable the gun in the accessibility menu, and you can play with the gun the whole game.
Yep.
And that's
Hell
the game.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good idea, and I appreciate the accessibility advocates that we were talking to at the time. Thank you all for co-signing this idea and not making me feel like an asshole for doing it. And, you know, I think what this speaks to is really just the idea that accessibility should be fun. It shouldn't just be an afterthought. It can be something that is fun in and of itself, because that's, again, what games are all about.
That's true too. 'Cause, like, it was like, hey,
so
we're
yeah,
gonna make
I
it
just
really
want to
like a
take this
fun
opportunity
mechanic.
to say
Yeah.
thank
Like, it's
you
not
to
just an easy mode. Like,
my
okay, well,
co-founder
how about we give
Caitlin
them a
Yeah.
gun?
everyone on our team who just did an amazing job making such a big and impressive game at the small indie studio that we have. I want to thank our partners who helped us do the incredible feat of self-publishing an indie game. So Kowloon Knights, Pop Agenda, Play Everywhere, Local Heroes, Locket QA. Thank you guys. I want to shout out and thank everyone else in this category. All your achievements are pushing the medium forward and helping accessibility.
Oh,
as
that's
a
really
whole.
nice.
Thank you. I want to thank my mom and dad and everyone on the
Aw.
team's moms and dads and your mom and dad
My
and
mom
you,
and
the
dad.
gamer, for
Foxy's
spending
mom and dad.
$30 and getting Dark Bob Souls Pants in return. Thank you.
Dark Bob Souls Pants.
Yeah, I know my hair's a different colour. Someone let Petey loose with the crayons. Anyway, whilst we're on the subject of accessibility, it's my pleasure to introduce to you an individual who's building a new discovery platform that's focused entirely on gamers with disabilities. To tell us more about it, please welcome Arman Nabari.
How do you know if you can play a game? That's the question that started this whole project. Currently, it's really hard for gamers with disabilities to find games that support their needs. It ultimately comes down to a lot of manual research, and that's hours upon hours of trying to use search engines, looking at different reviews to discern whether or not a game supports someone's needs. And sometimes for certain needs, like content triggers or different forms of accessibility, you really don't know unless you're also willing to potentially get spoiled for a game's story. So we wanted to make a spoiler-free, easy, accessible, fast way to find out, does a game meet my accessibility needs? My name is Arman Nobari. I have founded a studio called Good Trouble, and we're making a new way to discover accessible games called Able to Play. Able to Play is a website where gamers can discover games based on their personal accessibility needs. It's super easy to find a game on Able to Play. You add your needs and preferences to your accessibility profile. It's completely private and secure. And then when you browse games, you'll get a personalized accessibility score on
that's
every
cool.
game that shows you exactly how well it meets your specific needs and preferences. We make it really, really easy to just browse
Chicory
and
looks
immediately
cute.
see how well a game supports your needs. Click into it, get all the details, you get a summary. It's really, really easy to use. It's completely free, and it's completely private and encrypted. This project was inspired from a chapter earlier in life. I was in the hospital going through chemotherapy, fighting, and eventually beat cancer. And games are what got me through that experience. You know, I would escape to whole other worlds going through chemo. But for friends in the hospital that I was meeting, they couldn't jump in and play games like I could due to various accessibility challenges. That experience really stuck with me over the years. And at a certain point, I just said, you know, there has to be a better way to discover if a game is accessible enough for you to play.
He said, fuck it, I'll do it
Over the
myself.
last year, we've spoken to
I appreciate
thousands
that.
of gamers with disabilities, and we learned there's no one-size-fits-all
I actually wish you
magic
said
accessibility
exactly that.
Yeah, right?
Everyone's needs are so nuanced and personal. So building a platform that really supports that and adapts to each user was really our North Star in guiding how we built Able to Play. Personally, as a cancer survivor, I live with a disability, and around 1 in 3 gamers do too. So whether you need subtitles of a certain size, support for color blindness or more, or you're someone with very specific content requirements for the games you play, Able to Play is for you. I invite you to join us on Able to Play, and I hope you discover.
You know, my brothers are colorblind, and my older brother, he would always ask me to like help him with like puzzles and stuff if it had something to do with colors.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Whether it's volleyballs or paintbrushes, our next presenter knows the fundamentals of making a visually dynamic game.
That's
pop
a
off the
lot.
screen.
Hi, I'm Greg Labanov, director of indie game projects such as Beastie Ball, Chicory, A Colorful Tale, and Wandersong. And
Oh,
I'm
you
here
do
today to
Chicory.
present
It
to
looks
you
cute.
The nominees for the Visual Design Award.
Makes
Visual
sense,
design is probably one of my
organizers and judges. It truly means the world to us. For those of you who might not know, we spend a huge portion of our lives working on this game. 13 years, in fact,
Yep,
which
a very long
in fact
time.
is a third of my life. And we had moments where we wondered if this ambitious idea would ever see the light of day. But here we are, finally sharing this world with you. The heart and soul of Harold Halibut lie in its handmade approach. Every character, every set piece, every tiny prop you see in the game and on the screen was sculpted, painted, and assembled by hand.
Made with love.
We wanted to create something that felt tactile and alive. Something that reminded of classic stop-motion animations, yet pushed the
I'm really
boundaries
glad,
of
like,
what
a
a modern
stop-motion
game
game won.
could look like. To be recognized for this effort with the award
And I'm
for visual design
anticipating
is incredibly
the other
gratifying.
stop-motion game. You know,
This award really belongs to the entire
what
team.
was I watching? It was
Every
either Day of the
single person who
Devs
poured their
or
creativity,
Wholesome,
sweat,
but
and
it's like
additional
a felt
tears into Harold
stop-motion
Halibut.
game.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Like it's all made with
He
felt.
stuck around through
Yes,
the
I remember
ups, the
watching that. That
downs,
was,
and the weird experimental phases.
I don't know. I don't remember which show it was, but it looked
We also
fantastic
want to
too.
thank our supporters and community. Your encouragement made the tough times easier. Every kind word, every keep going helped. I guess if there is one thing to take away from this is that passion projects
game was
can
like
take their
100
time,
gigs or something,
but
or
they're
7.
worth it.
This was a beefy
It
game,
was a
yeah.
huge game.
Anyway,
So-
thank you for
so
this
much
award.
to-
It feels a bit
so
wild
many
to be
assets.
finally talking about a
Just tells you
finished
how many
game
things
after
they had to
13
make.
years of.
Yeah. And the
probably
ending looked
next
amazing
year.
too. It got like super
We are so
trippy at the
grateful.
end.
And we hope you enjoy Harold Halibut as much as we enjoyed making it. Thanks again and enjoy the rest of the show.
Make another. Make another.
Make it there. Come out when I'm retirement.
Yeah.
If you played Sorry We're Closed recently, you've probably found yourself bobbing your head to the beats of our next presenters.
I'm not the victim, I am the system. I'm not in the wrong with my infinite wisdom.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Elder Mikey's.
And this is Master, and we are Okamura. Now, let's talk music, right? Music has the ability to deepen immersion. It can bring out emotion, and it can create long-lasting impressions. The indie scene in particular knows how to use music to elevate the player experience. I'm talking the haunting melodies that linger as the screen is fading black. I'm talking the sweeping scores that are driving the hearts and the souls.
Matt's
Look,
like, yes.
at the end
Yes,
of the day,
they get it.
the
They
right kind of
understand.
music, that's transforming the soul of the game.
And I ain't gonna hold you. That joint just might be a banger for real.
Facts.
With that being said, here's the nominees for music. Core Keeper by Pug Storm and composer Jonathan Gear.
This actually Jeff.
Give credit to your composers.
Flock by Hollow Ponds and composer Eli Rainsbury. Pacific Drive by Ironwood Studios.
Sulfur and smoke glows through the snow. It smells like money.
The Cub by Demagogue Studio and composers Shane Barry and Igor Simic.
Whoa.
Thrasher by Puddle Studio and composer Brian Gibson. And Wild Bastards by Blue Manchu and composer Ryan Roth.
And the Indie Game Award goes to?
Man, them folk at Ironwood Studios for Pacific Drive. Come on, man.
I swear when I drive, let's get it.
Hey everyone, I'm Will Roger, composer of Pacific Drive, and I'd like to thank the Indie Game Awards for choosing our game in the Best Music category. This year had some fantastic soundtracks in the indie scene, and so it's an incredible honor to be recognized along with the other
Some
nominees.
dude drawings like, yeah.
Pacific Drive was a rare treat for me as a composer, being able to score a game that takes place right in our backyard here in the Pacific Northwest, and to craft every single sound from scratch without any preconception.
Hey, Brian,
of
welcome
genre.
in.
I'd like to recognize D'Anthony Wooten and Sam Suggs for their performances on my score, as well as the over 20 different bands who contributed to our radio soundtrack. I'd also like to thank the brilliant dev team at Ironwood Studios and everyone who contributed to bringing this game to life. And last but not least, my warmest thanks to all of the fans of Pacific Drive. Thank you.
Yeah, the game gets pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I've watched a few people play this.
Earlier this year, these two set out to make waves in the industry by introducing drag to players who might not be familiar with the culture. We're thrilled to have them on the show to help us recognize
Who's
other
drag?
trailblazers who have made a significant impact on the industry this year.
This game was so fun. I liked it. Yeah, I wish they got funding to go through with
Hi,
it.
I'm Ian, and this is Jess. We're two of the developers behind Drag Her, a 2D fighting game showcasing drag royalty.
Some studios don't just create games, they change the industry. Throughout the night, we'll be honoring 4 trailblazers whose actions speak louder than words. Studios, individuals, and organizations making a lasting impact and setting new standards for innovation, inclusivity, sustainability, and creativity.
Their groundbreaking efforts are not only shaping the future of our industry, but inspiring the next generation of developers to dream bigger and bolder.
Hello, Indie Game Awards. My name is Oliver Nelson Jr. I'm the studio head over at Strange Scaffold, and I speak on behalf of myself and everyone at the studio who I get to collaborate with when I say just how much it means to be recognized in this way. Thank you so much for this honor. And I'm now recording this just straight off my phone in a vertical format to be as authentic as possible, especially for those who are familiar with my TikTok presence, speaking from the heart sincerely with as few bells and whistles as possible. To make a very long story short, I never intended Strange Scaffold to be a monolithic idea of what a quote-unquote good indie studio can or should be. I hope it demonstrates is what's possible if at every layer of a studio, much like a game design problem, you work from your values. I don't want to bring perfect things into the world, even if that were possible. I want to bring more things into the world with collaborators who are empowered and can go on to, in their own communities, with their own visions of games, continue to make games in ways that make them feel strong and safe. I get to work from those values every day because I have had the extreme blessing to run into a cavalcade of extremely talented and good people. People like Tom Benita and Meredith Hall and Kawatiano and Candice Udert and RJ Lake and Romero Bonacausen. The names go on and on. Thanks to all those people and many, many more, Strange Scaffold has had the opportunity to ship 15 games in 5 years, and we've got a lot more on the way. So to end this somewhat long-winded acceptance, I really hope that this is the takeaway for people who are watching what Strange Scaffold is doing and has done over the past few years. It's that a game studio is not a binary template of a thing that you do. A game studio is a home. You can fill it with things that you love, not with giant spiky furniture just because that's what someone tells you makes a home good. Smash.
And we all sing. Break shit, kill people, break shit, kill people, break shit, kill people, break shit. Break shit, kill people, break shit, kill people, break shit, kill people, break shit. Break shit, kill people, break shit, kill people, break shit, kill people, break shit. Break shit, kill people, break shit.
Our next guest understands it's not the size of the game that matters, but the impact they can make.
Duck Detective.
Hi, this is Ben Laserbeam, Program Director of the Playtopia Festival and a member of the video game band Team Laserbeam. Over the last decade, Team Laserbeam has been committed to creating aggressively short punk games that deliver maximum impact in the shortest time possible. So I'm really honored to be presenting the Bite Size
I like
Game
that.
Award. I think short games are so important. I think that it is so great seeing developers respecting the time of their players and giving them experiences that are
It's
just
exactly
as
what I'm
impactful
telling
as
you,
longer
Matt.
games are.
I don't want
And I think
40,
through
60
rebellious
hour
creating
long
short
games,
like
you
this,
know?
which are often
Yeah, it
sort
is.
of
Why?
non-commercial. They're the kind of games that you could never see coming out of the AAA space, and it's the kind of thing that only indies can do.
secret personal project that I was kind of embarrassed to even say the name of. So to see it get this level of recognition is very unreal to me. IGN and 61 Indie were some of the first groups to even cover Animal Well back when it was still relatively obscure and hardly anyone knew about it. So this feels super genuine. While I did work on Animal Well alone, I still had plenty of help making it into something that many people could actually have access to and marketing it. So I want to thank some people for that. First, my business partner, Dan Edelman, who lent the project his sort of business and marketing wisdom. And when he joined the project, I was able to transition to working full-time, which was amazing. I want to thank Jason and Leah and everybody at Big Mode. Still
I don't know what a
super
donkey is.
honored that you chose Animal Well as your first published title. And then I want to thank my girlfriend Madison, who's another solo developer, for just talking with me each day about game design and art and programming, and also for giving me this award. And then, yeah, I just want to thank there's the broader community in general, all the people, in the Discord server, the moderators, people making guides and fan art and video essays and mods, and there's just so much stuff that I keep finding on the internet that blows my mind, and all that stuff just makes it into an infinitely larger bit of culture than what I initially made, and for that I'll always be grateful. Thank you so much.
You may have noticed that one game was missing from the category, Aerial Knight's We Never Yield. Back when the nominees dropped, Neil reached out to us and let us know that We Never Yield wasn't a traditionally solo-developed game, so he respectfully withdrew it from consideration. However, we still wanted to invite Neil on to be a part of the ceremony and share a few words about Daniel Wilkins, the talented composer behind the Never Yield music, who tragically passed away in November.
Aww.
Hi, I'm Neil. I was Dan's best friend for a very long time, almost 17 years, where we went to school together, we got our first bank accounts together, and we worked on the Never Yield games together. And I just want to take a second to tell you all how much of an amazing person, developer, and friend Dan was. Dan was a nerd, just like me. He loved nothing more than to talk about video games, to play video games, to argue about all types of different things in the video game space, but also call me very early in the morning and talk about what anime I just absolutely had to watch. I want to tell you how much of a dope person he was, how inspiring he was, how he had all these creative and different ideas that would have contributed to video games and just music in general. I could sit here and talk about Dan and how dope he was forever, but we don't have time for that. I would just like to tell you how Dan would love an event like this that honors and praises game developers and gives them their flowers while they're here. One of my favorite things to think about is how there was a time where this guy came up to me and Dan while we were at some event, and he just started telling Dan how amazing he was and how much he loved the music that he created, and how Dan talked about that for days, because oftentimes we don't praise developers. We don't tell them how much we appreciate the work they create. All Dan ever wanted was to make music for video games. So I want to take the time to thank you for giving us the opportunity to make games for you all.
Oh, he's gonna make me cry.
To live our dream, and and to let you know how much of a dope person that man was, and how much I'm gonna miss him. And my hope for all of you is that you all find a friend as good as he was to me. Thank you all so much.
Oh, that was really sweet.
Try to keep up. I keep it going, bringing me down. I keep on flowing like I live in the now. Like a river, I be dripping in style. I'm running wild now. I'm on the way, and you ain't
Say it loud, I say it proud, I'm never gonna quit. Too legit, need no assist, I'm always in a mix. Ain't never seen anything quite like this.
What is going on? Motorcycles, horses?
I will only ask once, boys. Give me the crown.
We back.
Yeah, he was very young.
Playcrafting was integral to our start in the industry, so we're honored to have one of the key members of their crew on to present the category for innovation.
Hey everyone, I'm Christy Pride, this is Dio, and we work at Playcrafting. Over at Playcrafting, we work to bring events, resources, paid opportunities,
cozy
and
cat.
a sense of community to
Has to
devs
be.
at all stages
Yeah.
of their career. And tonight, I am so honored to present the award for innovation. Innovation lies at the heart of the indie scene, making indies the lifeblood of the entire industry. It's where new ideas are born and the boundaries of gaming are consistently pushed. Tonight, we recognize the games that stand out for their bold creativity, ones that challenge conventions and redefine expectations. Beyond their artistry, innovative games help democratize the medium. They remind us that gaming isn't solely defined by multi-million-dollar blockbusters.
Back, go sit down.
I'd rather have his drums instead.
They are a beacon of sanity and have my eternal gratitude. Thank you, Indie Game Awards. This is my award, I'm worth it. I'm keeping it. I deserve it. Good night.
Game that talks shit to you the whole time. Hoot.
Life happens in the blink of an eye, and our next presenter understands how emotionally devastating that can be.
This is my award.
Hi, my name is Richard Beer. I am the engineer and one of the
to pay tribute to our friends who got laid off, but also to let the industry at large know that there are still studios out there like New Blood who give a shit, who will always love and respect our friends who make those games. And the truth is, that kind of stuff only happens at the indie level. You know, we don't have any investors, we don't have any shareholders, and we don't have any masters. So we can do whatever the fuck we want. You know, we do have a lot of friends, but we are a small company, so we can't hire all those developers. We can't fund all their new projects, but we could put up a finger or we could put up a billboard. So if you take anything away from that billboard or all the layoffs that have happened over the last year, you know, I'll say what I said back then over the summer, and that's to hire those developers, follow their new projects, and shout out when you see them. Oh shit, look what these former Roll 7 devs are doing. Look what these former Arcane devs are doing. Trust me, they're doing some cool shit. I've seen it. Indie games are the beating heart of the video game industry, and there is absolutely no amount of corporate greed or bullshit layoffs that is ever going to change that.
Back in the Wii U days, there was one indie in particular that helped break into the mainstream with a shovel in hand. And here we are, a decade later, still talking about it today.
Gameplay design is all about creating mechanics that flow seamlessly. Challenge
and why we can do such things. Community management is something that is a team effort. I'm so grateful to lead the community for our insane studio, but our community is as incredible as it is thanks to my partners in crime. I mean, our entire studio is filled with talented devs who were willing to pitch in with helping to make funny videos, or even pitch an idea, or especially help with the freaky content that I couldn't do alone, and I wouldn't have it any other way. They're the best, and they are what makes Aggro Crab who we are. And finally, I want to give a huge thank you to the community managers of Aotearoa in New Zealand and all of the other community managers throughout the world. You are the backbone of the gaming community, and do not let anyone else tell you otherwise. It would be a mess without every single one of you. So thank you again, and Godspeed.
Godspeed.
Hey, we're so honored that Outer Sloth is one of the Industry Impact recipients. That's super cool. Forrest, that's this guy, Outer Sloth, and I are really happy to see how it's taken off like this. For those who don't know, Outer Sloth is our indie game fund that we made after the success of our previous games, Among Us and the Henry Stickmin collection. Thank you so much to anyone who has bought those games, played them, continues to play them. You help us do cool stuff like this, and also just help us survive and grow as a studio with no investors, publishers, or acquisitions. Outer Sloth was designed to offer deals we would have wanted back in our less popular Among Us days. It's our way of combating predatory deals that don't keep the developer's sustainability or success in mind. Unfortunately, we have seen a lot of those, we have experienced them, we have been offered them, etc. So yeah, it's a little wild out there. But sharing our success and supporting indie games is incredibly important to us, so we hope this helps devs gain a little bit more independence. Alongside Casey Yano from Mega Crit and a mystery friend contributing to the Outer Sloth money pool, we've signed 7 games since our reveal this year for a total of 16 games and growing. Outer Sloth is our passion project and dream for a better, more sustainable industry. If you'd like to find out more and maybe wishlist the games there, buy the games there, you can always find us at outersloth.com. Either way, keep supporting indie games. Thank you so much.
Last week, the Women-Led Games Showcase gave us a glimpse of what's to come in 2025. Tonight, they're here to recognize the standout achievements from the past year.
Hi, I'm Shar, the founder and director of Women-Led Games. Indies have always thrived on creativity and fresh perspectives, and tonight we celebrate a studio that's pushing the boundaries of both. Our next award honors the outstanding achievements of a game developed by a women-led team, one that reflects the diverse greater
them together with the fans in a really fun atmosphere that is much more of a games festival than a conference of any kind.
It
So thanks
really
again to
is.
the Indie Game
That's what I
Awards, and
felt
thanks
like.
to the whole Day of the
A
Devs crew
festival.
and everyone who volunteers to put those shows together and spend the time to find the best games out there to bring them to everyone's attention. Thanks to all the developers who share their games and everyone who's shown up to our live show in San Francisco or watched the trailers online. Thanks for supporting
thanking
Day of the
you.
Devs for all these years.
Me. Personally thanking
At
me.
PAX East 2023, we met with Toge Productions to discuss an idea for this next category, an award to honor someone who makes a significant impact through storytelling each year. When it came time to choose the first recipient, and therefore name the award after them moving forward, there was only one clear choice.
Thank you. Thanks for the opening game because I won't be able to do that. Yeah. So my name is Muhammad Fahmi, but you can just call me Fahmi.
Barely alive, girl.
I thought that didn't get correct answer.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Hi, I'm Chris Anthony, founder and CEO of Toge Productions. I work on Coffee Talk together with Fahmi. Fahmi is a great game director, a great colleague, and a great friend. He had made a huge impact during his time at Toge Productions, not only to our studio and everyone in it, but also to the wider indie game development community. Through his games and his kindness, he inspired many people all around the world. I hope that his memories and legacy will continue to be remembered and that his work will be able to inspire many more.
Hi, my name is Sasha Ariana from Pixelnesia and Toge Productions. I had the privilege of being one of Fahmi's closest friends and collaborators. I've worked alongside him on What Comes After and After Love EP. Since his passing, I've taken on the responsibility of continuing the narrative work for After Love EP in his honor. Fahmi was more than a friend to me, and his loss was a profound blow that left me deeply shaken for a long time. And witnessing the collective grief within the indie game community only reaffirmed how deeply his absence is felt. And it's no exaggeration to say that the industry lost a voice that is truly irreplaceable. Fahmi was a storyteller of rare passion and vision, brimming with narratives he longed to share with the world. And although his time with us was far too brief, I take solace in the stories that he brought to life through his games. And I hope we continue to share stories to each other in whatever medium we see fit and carry his legacy forward.
Selaku orang tua Muhammad Fahmi, merasa bangga menerima penghargaan ini. Terima kasih kepada pihak penyelenggara atas apresiasi yang diberikan untuk Fahmi. Terima kasih juga kami sampaikan kepada semua pihak yang selama ini selalu mensupport Fahmi.
Kecintaan dia akan industri game lah yang membawa namanya dikenal. Bagi Fahmi, game bukan sekedar hiburan, namun juga sarana membangun imajinasi dan menciptakan dunia yang bermakna. Penghargaan ini menunjukkan betapa besar dampak yang dia tinggalkan. Meskipun Fahmi sudah tidak bersama kita, semangat dan cerita-ceritanya masih hidup di hati kita dan terus menginspirasi bagi siapa saja yang memainkannya.
Man, thank you so much. Man, like, Coffee Talk was a very personal project for me. It helped me through a very weird time in my life, and I'm glad if it can help you in some kind of ways too. I just want to say thank you. This game basically changed my life, and you, the players, are part of the things that changed my life for the better. So thank you so much.
Oh, he was really young too.
Our final presenter of the evening is currently developing what we and many believe will be a future Game of the Year contender here at the IGAs.
No pressure.
Well, hello and welcome all you party people. We finally made it. We're here at the final award of the night. My name is Davion Gooden. I'm the creative director over at Studio Xavier and the developer of the surreal adventure RPG, She Dreams Elsewhere, coming soon. And it is my honor and a privilege to present the big kahuna, the big cheese itself, Game of the Year. Now, look, I know we all just love award season. We all love the discourse. We all love asking questions like, oh, what's the point of award shows? And why did this get nominated? Why didn't that get nominated? Davion, when's your game coming out? And honestly, all those thoughts and questions are valid and also extremely stupid. Because Game of the Year, it's more than just a title. It's more than just an award. It's a celebration. It's a celebration of the games that have come out.
There are a lot of wonderful humans in this line of work, and I would love to share this award with every one of them. I stood on a lot of shoulders to be here, and I hope I can pay a fraction of the success forward.
I mean, it's addicting. I personally would not have given up on Overwatch. I've played a lot of Overwatch. I probably would have been to
Now that we know the proper pronunciation of Balatro and we know who we're mailing all these awards to, that is a wrap on the inaugural Indie Game Awards.
Congratulations to all of our nominees and recipients, and thank you to all of our incredible presenters who took the time to help us celebrate a fantastic
Ost.
year for indies.
Welcome in.
To all of our fellow showcases, journalists, content creators, organizations, and more who made tonight a reality, thank you. The IGA started as a text exchange back in 2022 amongst the 6-1 Indie crew, and it feels surreal to be here with you all in this moment.
Once again, thanks to the sponsors who came in to support the ceremony at a moment's notice. Pocket Pair, Very Okay Vinyl, V Publishing, and the Powell Group, as well as Playcrafting and Brookland for throwing the official.
Yeah, it might have gotten overshadowed by everybody else because they were on PC for like the longest. They just recently came out on other platforms.
As Dave discussed earlier, thousands of lives have been negatively affected by layoffs, studio closures, and consolidation, and unfortunately, it doesn't end there. The war in Ukraine continues to wreak havoc on so many lives. Palestinian and Lebanese families continue to suffer in the Middle East. Women's rights are dwindling. The livelihoods of our queer, trans,
like between each hand, you have these roguelike elements to like change, either how much you win or how much, all these different factors.
Right.
Because like you have to basically beat a higher number. If like your bet goes up and up and up, but it just continuously goes up. So you have to make a certain amount of money to win each level. Basically, it's like a level. And between each hand or game you play, you go to a store and you try to buy these things that can randomly help multiply your hands. Like, oh well, if you have even number cards, we'll give you double the money, stuff like that. So,
well, A lot of people like that. Not my thing, but hey.
Big number go burr. I mean, it was fine. It was fun to play. It is a little bit addicting, but it's also, it wasn't as addicting as I was told. Like, it wasn't like, this is the new Hades, this is the new whatever. I enjoyed it. I probably still could enjoy it, but like, once I got to a point where you get like the first sort of ending, like, can you beat 8 hands or 8 rounds? And then like, that's like the first time you quote unquote beat it. I was like, cool. I don't really want to play anymore. Like, I don't really care anymore. That was nice. But like, it's, the other thing too is that it's so based on luck, randomness. And it's kind of like Mario Party, where you're trying to like push the random luck in your favor. And I think that's the addicting part for people. They want things that are like, oh, well, it's not a game of skill, it's a game of luck, but like, you can do things that sort of push luck towards you. But there's no defined strategy to a lot of it just boils down to just straight luck. So I don't know. People love gambling. Well, people love gambling when it's not real money.
Right? Like, they don't want to lose anything.
Yeah.
They just like that exhilaration of winning and getting all the money.
Poker with big numbers go brrr.
But yeah. Yeah, I'm going to link in the description the website that they were talking about, and also find the Steam page that they're talking about with all the games listed, not just the nominees and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us for this indie game awards, which I really liked. I was kind of only just interested in this and not really the game, the big game award stuff. Yeah. I was like, because I don't play any of that shit. I don't play any of those like bigger games. I just kind of like stick to this.
And like the other thing you would have loved most was Statler and Waldorf, and I showed you all of
Statler
and Waldorf.
Yeah, he showed me a compilation video of like all the jokes that Statler and Waldorf were doing, and I was dying. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. I hope you guys have found something new to maybe check out yourself. But that's gonna do it for us.
Yeah, those are really good. If you saw a game here that looked interesting, you should probably check it out, because every game I've played that was at this award show was good.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys. Bye-bye. Oh, sorry.